Do 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 do. Go live power. All right, we are live. 1, 2, 3. We got 3 ticks. We are live, everybody. Welcome back. We missed out on last Wednesday. I had an appointment with a plastic surgeon, and that sounds much more fun than it's going to be. Sorry, guys. Welcome back to another Go Live. We are going to be talking all things designing your time today and the benefits to why and how you can design your time to create that value-driven life that you all deserve to have. And if you're not sure who you've even clicked on, then let me say hello. My name is Aileen Day. I am the owner of Meraki Business Solutions and Value Driven Brand and Aileen Day Consulting, because I'm greedy. I like my fingers and lots of pies. Keeps me out of trouble. But every week, generally, we go live and we talk about all things to do with the joy of sex. And you might be wondering what the fuck, but it's a pretty common way of putting out the joy of customer, employee, human experience, which you might see behind me. I always do that the wrong way. I'm always back to front. So I like to call it the joy of sex because individually those components in your business, in your life, if you are a business owner, entrepreneur, or a leader in a business, those things are amazing. But when you have them all together, you get a value-driven brand, you get a value-driven life, and you get the joy, the true joy of sex. So if that sounds like something that you need in your life, then let's have a quick chat. And again, I said quick. I always jinx it when I say let's have a quick chat because then it always ends up going longer than anticipated. But today what I want to have a chat about is how you can design your time so that you can get closer to that illustrious, value-driven life that we deserve as human beings, and for those around us who also deserve it. Because as we may have heard, or you may have heard, we are the sum of the 5 people around us. So if you are one of those people challenging yourself, upskilling yourself, putting yourself into a position where you are constantly pushing your way through your comfort zones, then guess what's going to happen to the people around you? Generally, one of 2 things. They're either going to deselect, or maybe 3 things. They're going to deselect. They're going to go, whoa, mate, you're too hardcore for me. They're going to try and keep you back down to their level. That's the Pygmalion effect. And, generally it can work for good and evil, but tends to end up being for evil. People want to keep you back on their level. And when you start to push the barriers of the kind of person that you want to be to become a better human being, to create a better human experience, then the people around you, if they're not also on that same playing field, can tend to get a little bit scared and talk you out of doing what is better for you. We were talking the other day about a business owner who regularly went to recruit from a minority group. I'm not going to name the minority group, but the minority group didn't like that individuals would try to earn an income and do things differently to how that group traditionally did what they did and lived. And they would constantly pull that person back into the fold and say, no, that's not what we do. That's not what we're about. If you want to be part of the family, if you want to be part of the group or the community, then you won't do that either. And unfortunately, those influential, those young people who were easily influenced would fold back into the way that their community lived and therefore not kind of get ahead in life, which was a real shame. But it happens all the time. It happens in our friends groups. It happens in our work. Hands up if you've been the person who's like, you know what, I hate my job, but I want this job. And to get this job, I'm going to have to do this, this, and that. And then you go and do those activities to get you where you want to be, to improve yourself, to give you a better life. And the people around you might go, oh, you're sucking up the boss's ass, or, okay, you're brown noser, right? I mean, it's happened to me. I have seen it happen to other people who also want to do things differently or improve the way they live. So that in itself is a problem, right? If we start to listen to those people, we might stop doing what we're doing, therefore not allowing ourselves to get that value-driven life that we deserve. So stop listening to people who talk shit, to be honest. Like, whatever, you do you, boo. But if that means you want to stay in the same shithole job, then good for you. It might be your passion, and that's fine. But for me, it's not, and I want to do something different. So, always work on the theory. Treat people the way you want to be treated. So if you're one of those people talking shit to people in your workplace about them brown-nosing, then just stop it. Just leave them alone. Maybe they want different things, and that's completely okay. All right? But if you're an employer or a leader in a business and you see that happening, it is also certainly your responsibility to kibosh that behavior and understand, though, where it's coming from, right? It is human nature. It's not a nice part of human nature, but it is certainly human nature to want to pull people back into the community and to be like everybody else. Right, it's kind of how we survived this far. Oh, my screen just froze in the most unattractive facial expression. How horrendous. Anyway, so I want to talk about how it is that designing your time and designing your life gets you to living that better human experience. We actually do talk a lot about the customer experience and the employee experience, but I feel like even I, as passionate as I am about the human experience, I actually don't talk about it enough to give people enough to walk away and go, you know what, fuck yeah, that's actually something that makes sense to me. And really the biggest component as to why I do what I do is the human experience, because the reality is there are hundreds of people around the world qualified, and I only say hundreds, literally, there's actually not that many, but there are hundreds of people around the world qualified to talk about customer experience. Hundreds, probably a few more than that, qualified to talk about employee experience. But certainly there are not enough people out there talking about the human experience and how when you put those pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together, you actually create something so unique from everybody else that everybody else is going to want to be a part of what you've created. And that's my point. Right? We are the sum of the 5 people we are around, but you don't necessarily have to wait to find somebody like that. You could be that person. There is no reason why you can't, right? So the thing is that when you start, there's so many perks to designing your time. And I know you're probably sitting there going, mate, you're talking shit. I run a multi-million-dollar business. I haven't got time to scratch my backside. I'm too busy for this rubbish. But the reality is the amount of business owners that I've spoken to in exactly that position, nearly every single one of them that I speak to, I find that what they do is they make themselves busy with unnecessary rubbish, right? The inner Aileen of me wants to say something far more crass, but, right? Fuck it, I'm going to be authentic. They fill their day up with bullshit, right? You fill your day up with rubbish. And that is why you are tired. That is why you are exhausted and pissed off and you don't want to pay attention to the people around you. That's why you probably hate people. I have a friend who seriously jokes quite seriously that he hates people. But he's one of the most beautiful humans I know. And it's quite humorous to me because I think it's such a shame that he hates people, because he would be one of those 5 people that I would want to be like if he wanted to be around more people. It's a real catch-22. If you kept up with that, well done. But the reality is, when you start to think about, why am I taking on this job? Why am I saying yes to this but no to that? Why do I come home and slam drawers or, bitch and moan about things that happen during my day? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Because the reality is that you are encouraging yourself. The self-talk quietly inside your head or outwardly is you fulfilling this prophecy of busyness, right? If you talk about how busy you are, you must be busy. If you haven't got time to close a cupboard to the point where you can just slowly close a cupboard and you have to slam it because you're in a fucking rush and everything's going crazy, you are creating that environment. That is your brand now, right? We talk about a brand in the business sense, but also consider that you yourself, this human, this body, is a bloody brand as well, right? And who wants to be around that? Is that a brand you want to be around when it's somebody else behaving like that? Probably not. I don't really get anxiety, but when I'm around those people, I do one of 2 things. I either get anxiety or I laugh. And trust me, if you laugh at them when they carry on like that, it probably makes them worse. It's not recommended, but I can't help it because I just find it very humorous. I can see where it's coming from, but try not to laugh at people when they're frustrated. They don't like it. But there are so many perks to designing your time. Let's think about some. You start to manifest greater outcomes when you design your time. And when I tactically say, when I say design your time, what I tactically mean is be considerate to the way you spend your time. I was mentoring a client the other day, and she is an amazing business owner. She is very successful, just phenomenal. The growth in her business has been such a wonderful thing to watch over the last couple of years. And I've not long started mentoring her, and we were trying to establish why she wasn't being able to sustain her energy and take on, that next level of jobs to build her business past, this ceiling that she's kind of got to. And what we came to this conclusion was that she keeps taking on shitty, crappy little jobs so that she doesn't give herself the time to do the big jobs. And part of me was like, well, that just seems very obvious. But it was completely not obvious to her. And when I say design your time, it really comes down to tactically considering the way that you want to spend your day. The Thought Leaders Business Group, for example, that I am a member of, they have a saying, so they break down their memberships into what's called belts, right? So you might be familiar with karate belts, so white belt, red belt, black belt, all that. Black belt being the highest. They say, as a member, we want you to sit down at the end of the day and we want you to consider, was that a black belt day, right? Did the activities that you performed, the way you designed your day and put it out to the world, was it a black belt day? And the reason that they want you to connect the two is because a black belt in the Thought Leaders Group is somebody that is earning, let me just double check, $60,000 plus a month, right? So you can anticipate the level of activity and productivity that has to come from you to produce a black belt day. But then if we're letting things like resistance and distraction come up, if we're letting ourselves play small, chances are we're not letting ourselves or designing a black belt day, let alone executing a black belt day. So when you sit down and you actually start to plan and put out to the universe, this is what I'm going to do today. This is how my day is going to go. You have a higher likelihood of that being how your day is going to go. If you wake up in the morning and go, my day is going to be full of shit, people are fucked, people can't do their own job, I'm going to be just putting out fires all day, that's my life, FML, guess what? It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's actually scientifically proven. It's not even like heebie-jeebie bullshit. It really actually happens. You are the creator of your day. You are in control. Even if you don't think you're in control, you're actually in control of it. How you react, what you choose to say yes to, what you choose to say no to, completely all part of your design. So what are you going to design? Are you going to design and execute a black belt day? And if, on the flip side, a fire does start, you still also have the choice to design how you're going to react. Are you going to amplify that fire? And I used to have a boss, I'm not going to name him just in case he watches one day and he gets big head. But he used to say to me, Aileen, you're always on DEFCON 1. Now, I didn't actually even know what that meant. I had to go and find out. But DEFCON 1 is like the highest of alerts in the military or something like that. And I had to start to learn to bring down my DEFCONs, right? Because I thrived on chaos. But that's really not a healthy way to do business, to do leadership. People don't want to be around people who are constantly fucking chaotic. It hurts their nerves, right? Don't be that person. And if you are making everything about a DEFCON 1, like everything is an emergency, everything is on fire all the time, then you need to start to consider how to redesign your day. Because if you don't give yourself a goddamn heart attack first, basically what will happen is people will stop wanting to be around you. And guess what happens when people stop wanting to be around you? Shit gets harder, right? Things get even harder because now you've got no resources. Now you're back to doing things all by yourself. And you thought shit was tough before? You thought you were busy before? Well, guess what? You're about to get busier. So fulfill the right prophecies, right? And to do that, you need to start manifesting your day, planning how to have those black belt days, how to be productive and what choices you are going to make to create that value-driven day that you deserve. And once you have one day, you'll have another day. And then you'll have another day. And then you'll have Aileen Day. And then you'll have a week. And those weeks... I love taking the piss out of my last name. You should have heard my last name. Oof, that was certainly something people could take the piss out of. All right, number 2. I want you to think about the things that create resistance for you, the things that scare you, the things that you keep putting off because you're scared, because you have talked yourself out of it. Perfect example. I was talking to another client the other day. They have the bones of one of the most fantastic, like it's so fantastic, I just want to buy it off them, right? One of the most fantastic training courses that would be perfectly delivered via video or via a live scenario similar to this. And it's just sitting there collecting dust because they're too scared to talk on video. They are too scared to create a value-driven life, to put out to the public something that would be massively helpful to so many businesses because they're too scared to talk to a camera. And it breaks my heart, right? It absolutely breaks my heart. And by all means, I know that I do this every week now, but it certainly, when I first started doing live streaming, I reckon if you could go and find my very first or few live streams on Twitch, you would have a laugh. Like, they were terrible. The sound was terrible. I was nervous as hell, which, you kind of should be because I care about it. But they were, in comparison, they were so horrendous. They were bleh. But the reality is that I just had to expose myself to what scared me, bit by bit, step by step. And it got to the point where and I love this, my son does parkour, right? You might have heard of parkour. It's where they bounce off buildings and jump around and do flips and all this crazy shit. Knock on wood, don't break bones. But he does parkour. And one of the rules of parkour is that practice makes possible. And we have all heard practice makes perfect, but that also isn't necessarily true, but it certainly does make it possible. The more we practice, the more we expose ourselves to what scares us, to what we have facing resistance on, the better we are going to get. And we might not be the next Gary Vee, right? I mean, surely I swear enough as he does, but it still makes it possible. It's still something that is, you have the capacity to deliver and the capacity to watch. Like, it's definitely not as cringeworthy as the beginning of my expose into live streaming, right? But that is because I practice. That is because I show up and I continue to expose myself to what scares me. And that is something that we're going to be doing with this client as well, because I want you all to have access to this training program that she's created. And if she doesn't do it, I'm just going to buy it off her and give it to you myself, because that's how fantastic it is. She has this opportunity to create a value-driven life, but she is letting what scares her stop her. And that is a heartbreaking human experience, and one that is actually possible to I say easily get past, right? But the thing, it's not just whatever, it could be anything. It could be going and standing in a big group of people, right? Start with 2 people, make it 3 people, make it 4 people, make it 4 people and a kid, right? Just start small. Incremental change is all you need to get to where you've got to be, where you deserve to be. And the third thing is deliver value to other people, right? So much of what we do is for ourselves, but there is this intrinsic need to support and be there for other people. And if you go, I haven't got time to do shit for other people, I'm too busy doing shit for people in my own life, or, whatever, then I would also go back to step 1 and have some self-awareness and consider how you're designing your time. Because there is nothing greater in this world than being able to give value to another human being or to another person or thing that enriches the way you live. My son and I, a couple of times now, have gone and donated our time. It's very easy to donate money. When I worked 100-hour weeks, I donated money, right? I donated shit tons of money. So much money. My accountant was like, "Did you really donate all that money?" I'm like, "No, I did." But that was probably more to do with me feeling bad, because I would have preferred to donate my time. I would have preferred to donate my skills, energy, the things that create value. And yes, money can create value, but it also doesn't necessarily give you the same value in that human experience. So my son and I a couple of times have gone and donated our time to an animal shelter, which he loves, but he was devastated because there were no animals. we went and helped the behind the scenes sorting out medicines and stuff like that, which was still really imperative to helping the animals and to helping the humans who help the animals, right? So this year we have we're hoping if Melbourne just stops getting locked down every 5 minutes, that'd be wonderful. But we will be going and helping in homeless shelters, because I think it's really important that my 10-year-old, nearly 11-year-old son starts to understand not everything is handed to him on a silver platter. Not everyone has everything that they want for, and therefore it is his human responsibility to support those who are more needy than him. And where we don't have the money per se, I'm certainly not earning the income I used to earn. I have the time. I now have this flexibility because I designed my life to make sure that it includes time to deliver value to other people. Even, and it certainly doesn't have to be paid. One of my most favorite donations of time was a couple of years ago. I used to go into my son's classroom every week and spend about an hour and a half teaching children creative writing. Like, I had to put that PR degree to work somehow, right? But it created value. It helped the teacher, it helped the school, it helped the students, it helped my son see me, right? Instead of like the first few years of his life, I was probably not around much. Thankfully, he was too young to remember. But he saw me, and he saw me delivering value to other people. He saw me helping him and helping his friends. And it was such a small effort but it created this massive wave of value to those around me. And it filled my heart every week. At the end of the class would say, "Thank you, Miss Day." And I would be beaming. My inner teacher was fulfilled, right? When I was growing up, I wanted to be a teacher. I guess I kind of am. I'm just not really teaching creative writing on a full-time basis. Oh, I guess I kind of am, actually. I do PR. Yeah, okay, good. Penny drops. But those are the three things that are going to help you get closer to delivering a value-driven life, right? And if you need to think about how you deliver a value-driven brand, consider yourself the brand, right? The life you lead is the brand you put out, the energy that you display, how you're attracting people to you through delivering value, not just to yourself, but to those around you as well. So let's recap. Number one, we're going to design our time using self-awareness, understanding what it's going to take to create that black belt day, and making sure that we understand that we are the ones that choose how we spend that day. If we want to have all hellfire break loose, we will fulfill that in our self-talk. If we want to have a calm and productive day, we will fulfill that in our self-talk. Even when shit blows up, you still have the opportunity to stay calm and poised, right? There's no point running around with your head cut off, running around going, DEFCON 1, DEFCON 1, we're all going to blow up, right? What does that achieve? How is that leadership? How is that creating value for yourself or for those around you? And the second thing that we need to do is we need to start exposing ourselves to the things that scare us, right? Don't go flashing yourselves out in public going, Aileen told me to. Don't be rude. All right, go and figure out what it is that you keep putting off and think about that self-awareness. Why is this so hard for me? What is coming up for me? And how can I, step by step, create that practice to make it possible, right? Let's stop trying to be perfect. Knows none of us are, so why be it, right? Everyone's like, oh, I love perfection. Get fucked, right? It's not a thing. It is not a thing. There is no such thing. So stop striving for it. Strive for what is possible, right? Thank you, Risky Kids, for that. It's going to stick with me forever. I love it. And the third thing I want you to consider on how you are going to live and create and sustain that value-driven life to give yourself the human experience that you deserve, but also the human experience that the people around you deserve, is to create value for other people, to find something that intrinsically motivates you, that fills your cup, right? And when I say intrinsically motivates you, it is filling your heart up, right? From the inside. No one's paying you. No one's praising you. No one's telling you how freaking amazing you are. No one's giving you big, fat, fake checks for the things you did. You are just quietly slipping in, doing your thing, delivering value, and walking away. And knowing that you played a part in somebody else's value-driven life. How good is that? On that note, that is it for me. I hope that this has delivered value to go towards your value-driven life. It certainly fills my cup, helping other people become the humans that they know they can be, that they deserve. Maybe you don't know you can be, but I certainly know you can be, and you deserve to be. So I look forward, if you are watching this today, 10 years' time, tell me how you're filling your cup. Tell me how you're living those 3 things to get the value-driven life that you deserve, because we all deserve it. So until next time, at least go out, deliver value to somebody else in your life, because what goes around comes around. I'm Aileen Day. Until next time.